You know a bullet ain't got no name, and nowadays niggas don't fit that chrome. I think them niggas never had to hear that song. Devin said gangsters don't live that long. The attitude like they got a lot to prove. Not much to gain, but a lot to lose. In the hood, they diplomas getting swapped for tools. Now all I see is death when I watch the news. Cops killing niggas on no motive, locking niggas up just to meet their quota. Everybody high, ain't no more sober. Pop pills, snort pot of codeine, they sold a revelation last day, man, it's almost over. Niggas dressing like women, purse on they shoulder. Streets got a lot hotter, niggas heart got colder. Gotta keep the grass low so I can watch them cobras. The good die young, barely out they strollers. Babies having babies like y'all ain't noticed. Short attention span so y'all ain't focused. The new generation looks so damn hopeless. Girls wanna be hoes, ain't no more Oprahs. Not a game over, ain't no more tokens. Signs of the time, man, that's what woke us. We don't stick together, man, that's what broke us. Niggas hate niggas like they in the clan. I guess Usher ain't the only nigga got it bad. Only way a nigga listen unless you got a bag. Fellas can't get a job cause he got a pass. Niggas living on the gram like he paying rent. Frontin' for an app, man, they gotta brag. Peasants got a self-conscious about the way she look. Now she flying out the country just to get her ass. I swear this world so
crazy, ain't it, man? I was just thinking the same thing. These niggas think selling dope is cool. We did that shit just to maintain. And we didn't take pictures, the game changed. Do it for the gram, my nigga. That's between you and Uncle Sam, my nigga. Gotta plug you the man with the whole time you paying, my nigga. Might as well stamp that, vouch for you so many times. Who you think they ran by, nigga? Had a lot of love for you right now, none at all. Really, I've been planning how to kill you with kindness. Just wanna remind you I'm grinding. When shit don't go right, I just blame it on time. And when you don't get your way, it's your main that time. I'ma give you what I owe you, pay you no mind. Invoices all in my inbox, and I'm hearing voices every time the call drop. They done run a nigga high with the small talk. About to get another spot for the ball drop. You don't find out how they feel till you fall out. I was trying to keep it real, that's what you thought about me. I can do bad by myself and better off without you. Comments and mentions, I continue counting. Yeah, I wanna hear something crazy. I love that nigga that hate me. I thank everyone that betrayed me. Did I forgive him? Maybe. I feel a little better ever since I scribbled this shit on this paper. Fuck it, I'm fresh out of favor. Fuck this shit, Kevin. Just
all right. What's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday. It's Clarence Jr. breaking down the Bulldogs. And we're here for some unfortunate circumstances. First of all, rest in peace to those who lost their life at South Carolina State's homecoming. And speedy recovery to those who were hurt but are going to make a full recovery. Now, this is a conversation I've been looking to have for quite some time now. And it's actually a conversation that I did spark and have not too long ago, about a year ago. Because this is not the first time that there have been issues at homecomings. There's been quite a few over the last few years. And I've done multiple videos on it, and I'm going to play and go through some of those. But before I get into that, we're just going to have some basic general conversations. I'm going to just give you some simple talking points about why things are the way they are. So first of all, it was never intended for a subgenre of hip hop to become mainstream and basically become popular culture, right? So when you look at gangster rap, trap music, drill music, gangster music, so forth and so on, those were subgenres within hip hop. That subgenre was never intended to take over hip hop as a whole and become mainstream popular culture. That was always supposed to be and remain something that was, done in the dark, in a secret, something that they do over there that's not accepted by the masses. That's why at a point in time we had something called BET Uncut. Because there was a time in Black American culture, well, just in music culture and hip hop culture, there was a time where we understood that certain things were supposed to be played and done separate from everything else. We understood that certain things were not supposed to be done in the light. Certain things were not for the consumption of everybody. Certain things were not for children. Certain things were not meant to represent the culture or the community as a whole. It was a subgenre. It was something that was done over there. We understood it was like a degenerate type of thing that was. But what happened was, once again, gangster culture, drill culture, trap culture, those subgenres eventually became the mainstream. It eventually became popular culture. What do I mean by that? Well, once again, you can go to any professional sports game, whether it's the NBA, the NFL, or you can go to colleges, or you can go to high schools, or you can even go to Pop Warner. I'm talking about kids that are not even high school age yet, and they're playing flag football, 12 and under, 10 and under, 8 and under. And I've been to these events and listen to the music that is being played. It's going to be a whole lot of niche hip hop music being played. And when I say niche hip hop, I'm talking about, once again, the drill stuff, the trap stuff, the gangster stuff. That's what's being played at sporting events, starting at the adults, going all the way down to the 5 and 6 year olds. I heard it myself in person one time. Well, not one time, but every time I go to a youth sporting event, I'm talking about little kids. That's what's being played. Because somewhere along the line, that type of music, that type of mentality, that type of culture became the popular culture. To where we are now, the way we'll play that stuff in front of children at children's events, and nobody says, hey, hold on, you know what? I don't think this is appropriate for children. This rapper that's talking about shooting this and killing this and smoking that and sipping on that and doing this with that woman and this gun and that, I don't think that's appropriate to play. Nobody says that anymore. Nobody says that anymore. That is regular music now. As a matter of fact, we've reached a point to where if you do say something about it, you look kind of crazy. You're the old man saying, get off of my lawn in 2025. Let's just be real. If you go to HBCU sporting events, the basketball, the football, what type of music is being played? The same music. Shoot this, pop that, kill this, smoke this, do this with this kind of woman and calling her everything but a child. That's what's being played. Mind you, these are institutions of higher learning for Black folk, where the majority of the Black doctors and the lawyers and all those people come from. But this is what we're playing at our own sporting events, where not only the students are there, but alumni is there, admin is there, alumni is there, little brothers and sisters are there, parents are there, and this is the music that we're playing. And nobody says, you know what, I don't think that's really appropriate. This is a university of higher learning. Let's look at the homecomings. When it's time for us to have our homecoming concerts, who are we inviting to the concert to perform for our students? The next generation of doctors and lawyers and teachers and entrepreneurs and faith leaders and politicians. Who are we bringing to campus? Sexy Red, Cardi B, Nardo Wick, and so forth and so on. And what type of music are they making? Because once again, a lifestyle and a mentality that was always in the fringes of the culture of society have now become the mainstream, popular culture, to the point where we don't even blink a blind eye at it. It's just like, yeah, that's what's supposed to be going. Why do I bring this up? Several reasons. Number one, what we accept, what we tolerate as normal, as cool, as popular, as mainstream, says a lot about our mentality overall. And so, if we're going to keep it real, in my personal opinion, we are largely desensitized to the dehumanizing and the violence perpetrated between one another within the community. We're desensitized to it. It doesn't bother us anymore. As a matter of fact, not only does it not bother us, it is now entertainment. Not only is it entertainment, but you can use it as a way to enrich yourself. Not only can you use it as a way to enrich yourself, you can also use it to become a respectable and upstanding member of society. Not only can you use it to become a respectable and upstanding member of society, you can also use it to become one of the leading faces and voices and representations of Blackness to all of America, to all of the world. Why do I say that? Think about how many rappers that make a specific type of violent, derogatory music that gets all kinds of opportunities with Fortune 500 companies and legitimate business people. Think about it. Think about how many drill rappers you've seen professional sports organizations call out to throw the first pitch or to flip the coin or to do this or to do that. These people are legitimized within American culture overall because we first legitimized them within our community. Why does that matter? Let me tell you why. And I'm going to get into these videos that I did over a year ago, but I'm going to get into them. Once you create a situation where we are desensitized to dehumanization amongst ourselves, as well as violence amongst ourselves, and it goes a step further to where those people who portray that can gain riches and fame, and then they can cross over to mainstream society as a representation of the Black community. What happens is you get generations of young people who also don't place the value on Black life or life in general as they should. You get a generation of young folk who don't take violence as seriously as they should. You get a bunch of young people who think that this way of life, which was supposed to be always on the outskirts, done in the dark by a small segment of us, they decide I'm going to go that route because that can lead to me being rich and famous. And so how does that tie into the HBCU? Well, once again, when we look at HBCUs, we already know that Black male enrollment in the HBCU has been declining. So there's a whole, and it's something we don't talk about nearly enough, honestly. But as the generations go by, there are less and less Black men who even have access to an HBCU campus for an education to change their life. So they don't have the connection to it anyway because they're not going for whatever reason, for lots of different reasons. But then once again, here's the point. And this is a point that I don't think we talk about or think about enough. Drill culture, gangster rap culture, trap culture, degenerate, violent, hypersexual, that type of music that was always supposed to be a niche genre became the mainstream genre and then eventually became a huge part of overall popular culture. And when that becomes popular culture, what do you think is a byproduct of that? And so let's be real about what goes on college campuses overall, but also on the HBCU campus. You have a lot of young people from all types of backgrounds who are in an institution of higher learning to gain career skills and build connections and take their life to the next level. But because of what is now the mainstream popular culture, what they view as being a real man, what they view as being masculine, what they view as being real, what they view as being a real woman, a real man, is all influenced, once again, by a subgenre of hip-hop that was never supposed to be the mainstream. But now it is influencing how everybody views life, right and wrong, masculinity and femininity. And so what happens? Once again, I was in college from 2006 to 2011, right? Super senior, right? And if we're going to be real about what college was like, there was a lot of people there who, even though they were in college to change their life and to better themselves, what they viewed as being real, being a man, being a woman, being a real one, was heavily influenced by the degenerate beliefs that came from a subgenre of hip-hop. And this is across the board. So you had the first generation college students, but you also had the students that came from mom and dad were college graduates, grandpops and grandmama college graduates. We own a family business. I grew up in the suburbs. I went to private school. Regardless of family income, family background, neighborhood, mostly everybody came into agreement that masculinity, femininity, black manhood, black womanhood, what makes you real, is all heavily influenced, if not outright determined by what is said in this subgenre of hip-hop. And so some of the stuff that was said and thought and done on a college campus really does not align with what everybody was supposed to be there to do. And so without further ado, let me get into these videos about, because I talked about safety at homecomings a year ago. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring this up, and I sped it up and I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but we're gonna zoom through it a little bit. All right, so here it is. We have safety on HBCU campuses. Once again, this was done a year ago after there were issues at Jackson State and Virginia State, and there was I think Fort Valley State might have been another one. I can't remember, but this was them.
And we were just about to leave, and we had that intersection right there. And as we got to that intersection, they just started shooting. It was everybody was like split. Like it was half the people right here in the crowd that we walked through, and then it was half the people in the parking lot. I looked back and everybody started running, but that was about it. After I looked back and everybody started running, and I already heard them as I was leaving, I just kept going.
At this point, I'm sure that most of you, if not all of you, have heard about the shooting that took place at Virginia State University this week during their welcome week. For those of you who don't know, there were 2 individuals who were on the campus, and there were 4 individuals who were shot. The good news is it seems as if all victims will survive from their gunshot wounds, and the 2 suspects have been arrested. Virginia State has made it clear that no one involved was currently enrolled in the school, and the 2 suspects, both who are, by the way, 21 years old, very young, have been arrested. I'm going to put football to the side for a second, and we're going to talk about a very serious issue, something that I have been raising the alarms about for some time now, and that's simply this. And I take no pride in saying this. I'm just looking at the tea leaves and seeing where things are going, and this is the conclusion, the logical conclusion that I've drawn, and that's this. You are going to see a lot more violent crime and gun violence surrounding HBCUs. Not just at homecoming, although that is going to go up and increase. We've already seen some of that. Overall, is what I'm saying. Overall, you're going to see basically the HBCU campus at a certain point is going to start to reflect other parts of the community. That's what's going to happen. For several different reasons. Reason number one, and I talked about this on Twitter. Reason number one, many of us in the community have adopted this dangerous sense of what it means to be a masculine black man. We're getting all these images from the music, from television, from film, from quote unquote gangsters and all these kinds of things. And so many black men, even those of us who are educated, those of us who are older, those of us who were never involved in any street activity, many of us still identify with a certain representation of black masculinity. And we think that the most effective, the strongest, the most impressive, the most effective type of black masculinity involves over-the-top bravado and an inclination to engage in violent acts in order to prove oneself as a man.
I said this years ago, but a lot of us don't want to hear this. A lot of us don't want to have these conversations because, if you dare point out a problem that you're seeing. Oh, you cooning, you selling out, you tap dancing. What about this community doing this? What about that community? That's what happens. And so what has been going on is we have been seeing an erosion of what it means to be a masculine black man. And anytime somebody says, hey man, they are diluting what it means to be a strong masculine black man. Oh, why you say, what about this? What about you? Hey.
That has become the overwhelming dominant view of what it means to be a masculine black man. Anything that's seen as disrespect, you got to meet it head on with violence. That's what makes you a masculine man. And once again, that is becoming the overall acceptable view of black masculinity. Like, this is not like a fringe thing. This is not a thing where certain people over here believe this, but no, this is becoming commonplace across, no matter how educated you are, no matter how much money you have, no matter what your involvement in the streets was or ever was. We're seeing more and more young men and adult men, 30 plus, who lived a certain type of life, putting on this certain type of persona because they've been led to believe that this is real black masculinity. That's what.
Did you hear that? We are seeing men who live a certain type of life putting on this persona. Hey man, stop me when I lie, man.
One issue. The second issue is this. At a certain point, we just got to talk about proximity, right? A lot of schools, a lot of HBCUs are very close or right in the middle of some pretty rough and tough areas. Like, for example, you take Howard University. Howard University is one of the top HBCUs that we have. Top 2, top 3. One of the biggest brands, the biggest names. It's very expensive to go there. Thousands of black people enroll in that school every single semester. And trust me, it costs a whole lot of money. You know, don't ask me how I know, but I know it costs a lot. Out of state, $30,000 a year, right? So anyway, there's that. But in the backdrop of that is our community surrounding the school of people who don't got it like that. And so you got to think about that. You have these affluent, well-to-do, in a lot of cases, 2-parent households, nice cars, nice clothes, designer outfits, chasing their dreams, living their best life, having a good time. Young black folk in a cocoon, and around it, in a lot of cases, are people who are not in a position to where they can chase their dreams like the students at Howard are. That's going to bring in some issues, right? If I'm sitting over here and I'm starving and I look over at you and you got lobster and crab and shrimp and pasta and who don't have opportunity. So a certain amount of violence has become normal in the community. And you don't think that eventually it's going to spill over onto HBCU campuses? Why wouldn't it?
Oh, did you hear that? And I just said this, but once again, I said it over a year ago. A certain amount of violence has become acceptable in the community overall. And if that's the case, why wouldn't it also be reflected on the college campus? When after all, the majority of the people on the campus are between 17 and 24. I mean, listen.
I mean, seriously, why would it not? If you have been paying attention, the issues that have taken place in urban environments have already transitioned over to black middle class environments. That's been going on for the past 15 years, right? Where you'll see a quote unquote black suburb, and you fast forward a decade, and the schools have fallen down, not as good as they used to be. The violence is up, the broken homes are up, business opportunities are down, safety is down. If you don't believe me, I can give you 2 examples right off the top of my head. Prince George's County. While there are still a whole lot of people doing well financially in Prince George's County is not nearly what it was 10 years ago. The amount of violence, gun violence, people losing their lives in Prince George's County has become worse and worse as years have went on. The amount of broken homes in Prince George's County has become worse and worse as things have gone on. The reading and math proficiency and test scores in Prince George's County has gotten worse and worse as years have went on. And this didn't just happen in Prince George's County. If you go to an area I'm very familiar with, Baltimore County, we all know.
Oh, hold on. So hold on. Once again, if the popularization of negative and stereotypical blackness has penetrated and had a negative impact on even affluent black areas, if it has had a negative impact on former thriving black suburbs, why wouldn't it have an impact on the HBCU campus? I mean, it's a logical conclusion. It's a logical conclusion. It makes perfect sense that what you see reflected in the community will be reflected on the campus. But that's not all. I also spoke about, and I'm only going to play a few seconds of this one because I made the point. But I also spoke about these homecoming concerts because I'm just going to be real with you. And matter of fact, I'm just play the video. But what I will say is this: when you really think about it, it does not make sense that at an institution of higher learning, where we are creating the next generation of black doctors and lawyers and teachers and entrepreneurs and family men and family women and so forth, it does not make sense that in that environment, the people that we are bringing in to entertain our students at the most popular weekend of the year are some of these people who we're inviting on our campus. I mean, it just doesn't line up. And once again, this video was done 2 years ago. And so, let me make sure I got it sped up. There we go. Okay, so here we go. HBCU homecomings, right? Because I'm older now. I'm 35 years old, right? I graduated from undergrad in 2011. So, almost 13 years ago, time is flying by. And so it's homecoming season, and I'm seeing all these flyers for these concerts, right? I'm seeing flyers and it's, Cash Doll and Nardo Wick and Little Durk and Sexy Red and DaBaby and Lil Baby. And I'm just like, hold on. Is this really what we're going to bring and associate with our historically black institutions? Is this really what we're going to do? Now, I know it sounds... Hold on. I'm going to stop it right there. Because once again, why would we be associating the content in these people's music with our universities? We talk so much about, all the black lawyers and the black doctors and the black teachers and the black entrepreneurs and the black excellence that comes from the HBCU. And then we turn around and invite individuals that, listen, I got to say it, that don't represent that same type of black excellence, and we are inviting them onto our campus on once again, the biggest weekend that our university, the most visible that our university is the entire year. That's when we get all the students, we get the community, we get parents, we get siblings, we get family and friends, we get the alumni, we get the celebrities. And on that weekend, that's the weekend we inviting Sexy Red. That's the weekend we inviting the drill rapper. When you really think about it, it don't make sense. Hypocritical, because once again, I went to an HBCU in Bowie State, and yes, I remember we had Fabulous on campus, and Juelz Santana, and I believe Yo Gotti was there before, and Gucci Mane. So listen, yes, that did happen. So I'm not going to act like it didn't. I'm not going to act like I wasn't at some of those concerts, because I was. So this is not to come at or condemn or criticize the youth, because that would be hypocritical. This is aimed at the administrations who are bringing these individuals onto the campus. And what I'm saying is this: how do you go from late August, new student orientation and convocation,
where we're talking about the history of the university and the traditions and building up the new generation of young black men and young black women, and everybody's dressed up in their ball gowns and singing the school song and learning about the history of the university, and we're shaping young men and black women to take over the next year. How do you go from convocation and orientation and all of that, and we're meeting the royal court and we're meeting the SGA, and we have all these fantastic representations of the future of black excellence? How do you go from that to fast forward to October, and now you got Sexy Red and Little Durk and Cash Doll on campus with the content that you know that they have? How do you make that? How does the institution make that decision to bring these individuals onto your campus?
Let me stop it right there, because once again, I acknowledge that when I was 18, 19, 20 years old, I wanted the popular hip-hop artists to come to campus for homecoming. So I understand that part. But what I'm saying is, why is administration allowing this to happen on campus? Now, if they're having concerts and stuff associated with the university and it's off campus, you can't control that. But when you're inviting these people on to your, like, that doesn't make any sense to me when you really think about it. Yes, young people want to do what young people do. But the older people that are in charge, hold on, this dog. Right? But the older people that are in charge, why are they allowed? See, I can remember a time when the elders set the standard and they held the standard. And they didn't care if you didn't like it. They weren't trying to be your friend. They were trying to lead you in the right direction. And as you got older, you understood what they were doing. And if you didn't grow to understand it, oh well, they wasn't losing any sleep over it. What is going on? Because when you really think about it, it doesn't make any sense. Think about it. You're a freshman. You're 17, 18 years old. You get accepted to the HBCU of your choice. You are excited. You're going to college. You get there. You do new student orientation. You go to convocation. You meet the royal court. It got you in freshman orientation class. You're learning the school song, the history of the school. They're telling you about black excellence and taking things to the next level, and about the class and the elegance and all this, that, and the third. You start off, you don't have no visitation. You can't have no boys coming over, no girls coming over. You're focused on black excellence and education. 90 days go by, and now it's homecoming time. And so you're going to be able to see family, friends, and alumni from so many different years and generations from before you. And you'll be able to see the legacy that you are now a part of. Oh, and by the way, we're going to give you your visitation so you can go ahead and do whatever it is that you was trying to do. And all these degenerate rappers, we're going to invite them on campus too. It's like, hold on. The entire time since I got to the campus, we were going like this. Growing and learning and becoming the next. But we got up here, and then homecoming came, and then it was just like, okay, go like that. Man.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying is, it's okay, it's homecoming. Everybody wants to have fun. Everybody wants to cut loose. Okay. Why are we doing it like this, though? These individuals and what they say in their music is a direct opposite of what we say we're doing at our institutions.
Hello?
What they promote and what they claim to have engaged in is the direct opposite of the black excellence that we say we're trying to create the next generation of.
Hello?
So why are we associating them with our universities at a time where our university is the most visible? It's the happiest time in our university, and we'll have the most people there. Why are we doing that? And we're wondering why we're having all these issues at our HBCUs. It's homecoming season, and unfortunately, what we know, because it's been a trend lately, is that there will be multiple instances of shootings in and around homecomings, and it may even be a few fatalities due to gun violence at these kickbacks or parties or whatever. We notice this, at this point it happens at least at one school every year now. Part of that is the element that you're inviting to the campus. Like, what type of environment and vibe do you think Little Durk and DaBaby and Sexy Red bring to your campus?
Hello?
What type of messaging do you think is being drilled into the heads of the youth? What types of people who are not students at the university are going to be attracted to come to your university to go to that concert?
Hello?
What I'm saying is inviting these people is a direct contradiction to what we all say the mission of these institutions are.
I can stop it right there, man. I can stop it right there. Like, I don't need to say nothing else. And so just to wrap this up once again, our thoughts and our hearts and our prayers and our money in different situations, in different capacities, are with all of those over the last few years who have unfortunately lost their lives or been significantly injured as a result of violence at these events on these campuses. But at a certain point in time, we're going to have to really make a real evaluation on what we are allowing, what we are prioritizing, what we are platforming, and what are we helping to perpetuate as popular to our own young people. At a certain point, the elders have to lead and say, yes, I was young once and I did this and I did that, but that ain't it. That ain't the way. These people are not as cool as you think they are. What we represent is this. And so we can't associate with that. At a certain point, we got to get out of the double-mindedness. At a certain point. It's either we are about Black excellence or we over here doing this. We keep trying to do both. Because it's like including everything, no matter how counterproductive or degenerate or dangerous it is, including everything and everybody is authentically and unapologetically Black. Listen, if we're going to do the Black excellence, we got to do the Black excellence. And a lot of other stuff, we can't associate with it no more, man. Like, how bad does it have to get before people say, you know what, maybe we shouldn't be partaking in this? How bad does it have to get before, like, that's all I got to say on that, man. Enough is enough.